Alright, so I don't know if you can hear me or not over that generator, but now we're building that splitter. So we have two parts. We have the face, which is this small guy down here. It's a 5x5. And then we actually have the splitter itself, which pulls the two shanks. That's this up here. It's 14 inches wide. 8 out of 4 by 5 inch tube. So here's the face. We're going to start with it. First thing we got to do is zero our ZRO. So to do that, bring this back. Right there, I don't know if you can see that or not. The center of that drill bit is right on the lip of this piece. That should be 0, but it's not. So to confirm, before we get this zeroed out, what we'll do, we'll lock our drill bit down like that. We'll run our piece right up to it, just so it kisses. Just like that. I'll come up here to our x-axis, zero it out. Run that up. Now the drill bit I'm using, heck, I'd have to look at it again, but essentially 2266.2266 gets me to that center mark. If I run that over, .2266. Zero it out again. Come down here, right on the money. Now we will repeat the process for our y-axis. Now we'll get started. Alright, so now with our y-axis zeroed out, I have moved in on the piece 0.775. Well, again, by the time you get this far out, you're beyond reasonable. So it's basically at 0.775. We're an inch down off the top lip. So we are at this point right here. I'm going to go ahead and drill that. We're going to use that as our 0 for the project.
Okay, so now it's time to weld these face plates to the actual divider section. So what we have to do first is come up with where center is on the divider. So this divider is 14 inches across. These face plates are 5 inches, so that gives us a difference of 9 inches. So then if I take 9, well, divided by 2, because you get 2 parts, that gets us 4.5. So that means there should be 4.5 inches on the left and the right. So I've kind of come up with an interesting solution for doing this. I know, well, when you do these types of operations, you need to come up with some sort of constant. And that constant is this milling vise, because this vise is what we used to drill out these splitters as well as these face plates. Now, you're wondering, well, how does this work? How does this apply to welding this and finding center and all of that? Well, here's where the magic happens. So this is Geometry 101. Down there, I don't know if you can see that hole. That is the top hole of this pattern, which is on the planer row units. I need that hole to line up perfectly with this hole. And by line up, I mean that center so that, well, the row units function as they should. So that hole is right here on this plane, running left to right. So that will get us the up and down component of this piece here. To do that, I need to line that up with that hole, with that plane. I don't know, I'm starting to confuse myself. Anyway, what I did is I took a center punch, chucked it up in the milled. That is the same outside diameter as that hole. If I run that down like this, all of a sudden I know those holes are on the correct plane this way. So then all we got to do is our left and right, which that's fairly simple, right? That's just taking a ruler or tape measure in this case. So that's what I've done here. I did that before. Try to do that with my camera in hand. You can see 4.5 inches right on the money. Now there's one last component that involves a speed square. Let's just run that up tight like that, because whenever you do something like this, it tends to move this a little bit. So that appears to be on square or the like. So now what we'll do is we'll move our vise over. Went too far. Went too far again. Trying to hold the camera and do this at the same time is not fun. Okay. So it looks to me like we need to turn that a little bit. This is where those speed squares, they're nice, but they're not. And some of this is because of that milled, or not milled edge, but not mill in terms of this type of milling machine, but because of like mill slag, things of that nature. It was off by just a hair, but now we are good. So we're 4.5 on this side, 4.5 on that side. We're on the same plane as the holes down here. Now what we got to do is remove this from this vise, take it over, weld it, and repeat 10 more times. Hooray. Alright, so I'll give you a little bit of an overview before I go fire up that generator and you can't hear anything. This is a drawing of that closing wheel extension. All we got to do is we're taking a piece of, I actually made these 18 inches channel iron, and I'm coming in 1.2 inches from the one end. This is the end that's going to be exposed to the closing wheels, and drill my first hole. Go back 2 3/4 of an inch, drill the next one, reset to 0, go back 12 inches, and drill the remaining 2 holes back there, same spacing. We will also have 2 4-inch pieces of channel iron. It's just going to be a 4x4 with those 2 3/4 inch hole spacings. That is going to be on the opposite row, the row that we don't need an offset. And the reason that we're doing this is for a brace. Now, how that works is this will be basically right up here at the front. Well, to make it even more realistic, it's going to be up here on the partnering row, and there's going to be a 1 by 1 by 1/8 inch wall piece of square tubing connecting the 2 row units at the back to compensate for forces as the planter goes around the corner. So that'll be welded once these two pieces are bolted into place. So without further ado, let's go fire up the generator, start drilling some holes, and have some fun.
Look at me hold this door strong and firm like a secret handshake. I close my eyes, running through my mind how I'm gonna act and what I'm gonna say. My game theory sound each scenario plan, but it never happens that way. No, it never happens that way.
Another problem we had to overcome when designing this planter was this, which this is a walking gauge wheel assembly, which allows the left side or the right side gauge wheel to move independently of the other. And why this was a problem on this type of planter is because, well, we're going to have one gauge wheel on one side completely opposite of the other, meaning, well, I'll bring you around. We're going to have one gauge wheel over here and then the other over here on a completely different shank. If one of these is here, well, naturally it's going to always be riding like this. Now I suppose that would work, but why do something like that now all of a sudden we've got an inaccuracy forming in our seed depth? The whole reason we're banging our head against the wall. So our friends at John Deere already had this figured out. That's that part number right there. And essentially what it does is it eliminates that walking tandem. It makes it into more of a, I would say like a 7000 series planter was, with how it adjusts for seed depth, in that the gauge wheels do not walk. So like on this side, the side closest to you, it's only going to wear on this half of the depth stop. So of course they don't come assembled. You have to do that fun stuff, which I guess we're assembling a planter anyway in the cold shop. Turning the heat off just for you to kind of walk you through how we're doing this. So basically this comes in two parts. You got the casting and you got the T-handle, which locks into your notches there at the back. You take that T-handle, you drop it into the casting, you Get your spring worked in there like so. Now we just put a snap ring on there because snap rings are fun. I mean, I guess they are if you get the right tools. Plastic bags are not fun. My pocket knife is, well, all the way over there where the camera is, and I don't really feel like walking that far because I'm lazy today. Anyway, just hook your snap ring up like that. Now you make sure you don't launch it clear across the shop, and just work it on there. And there you be. Perfect. You gotta repeat that 23 times. 23 more times. Anyway, how this works, let's kind of bring you up here. This goes up in there like that. Trying to do this one-handed. And I put it in upside down. There we go. Like such. And you gotta put the T-handle up in there. But you get the idea. Trying to do this one-handed is not ideal. There we go. Now you can see the dup stop. So, like I said, we just repeat that.
Fish caught on my hook. When I close my eyes, running through my mind, how I'm gonna act and what I'm gonna say. My game theory sounding scenario plan, but it never happens that way. No, it never happens that way. There's a hole in the wall shaped just like me. When I learn where you are, I hear where you'll be. I cannot follow fast enough when you leave, but you turn around, I cannot speak. Not a single word can I speak. Look at me, wish you could see me the way I want you to. Standing strong, insecurity's gone, a vision in your view. But if I can't turn your gaze to me at all, what can I do? Look at me, wish you could see me the way I want you to. I close my eyes, running through my mind, how I'm gonna act and what I'm gonna say. My game theory sounding scenario plan, but it never happens that way. No, it never happens that way.
Well, there you have it. One complete precision planting E-set. Now, these use a different style of disc, the heart and soul of it right here. And this is what we're going to block off every other one with some JB Weld. That way we can get that diamond pattern. And I'm not going to actually store these in the planter. What I'm going to do is store them in these buckets. And I found these little, I call them Gamma 2 bucket lids. They're universal fit. They clip right on to your standard 5-gallon bucket you can get at a hardware store. And those meters fit in there quite nicely. So supposedly, I read somewhere you can fit 11 in one bucket, so that might be a problem, being that we need 12 left and 12 rights. But I will say those store a lot nicer than what the Great Pains meters stored. So if I have to get a couple more buckets, well, it is what it is. So that's where we're at.
USA, born and raised, gonna do it our way. Freedom ain't a dream, it's a long stretch of highway. It's the thrill of the road, the facing the wind. It's where you're going, not where you've been. Let's ride. Saddle up, American style. Let's ride. Rebel free, fast and wild. Life's more fun when you live it while you're alive. So let's ride. Shirt and tie, daily grind. Life ain't just a dollar sign. Clocking miles, throttle down, helps you leave it all behind. It doesn't get